My name is Ava Huntley, and I am the great-granddaughter of Novella and Arthur Winford. Right now, I am standing in front of their house, which they lived in for many years, on Britton Street. Now, let me share some family history with you. Arthur Leroy Winford Sr. was born June 8, 1916, in Rowan County, North Carolina. His parents were Reverend Leroy and Mary Winford. Novella Mariah Currence Winford was born October 30, 1918, in Gaston County, North Carolina. Her parents were Frank and Ella Currence. Arthur and Novella Winford had 6 children: Gladys, Arthur May, Evelyn, Arthur Jr., Mary, and Ella. Arthur Winford Sr. loved meeting people and enjoyed spending time on his front porch and playing the Atari gaming system. He was a tall man in stature but had the warmest smile to melt away anyone's troubles. He also enjoyed the hobby of the CB radio and could frequently be heard on the airwaves with the handle Carolina Bumblebee. He was a great golfer and an excellent cook, but enjoyed eating his wife's cooking even better. He spent Saturday mornings at yard sales and fishing in the afternoons. He loved being around his family and gave the best and loving hugs to his grandchildren, often making it unbearable to escape his bear hug grip. Arthur had a wonderful voice and was a member of the Gospel Tide Chorus Quartet. He could be quiet sometimes, but had so much wisdom to share. He loved reading and could recite a poem, bringing it to life as if it were real. He did not take many risks, but certainly enjoyed playing the lottery and pulling a one-armed bandit at the casino. He would win, too. He was so full of life and love that he had enough to share with his whole family. Arthur was a faithful church member, always putting God first, and thus making him a great example of Christ's favor. His legacy lives on in all his family.
I remember my dad. When I was about 4 years old, he used to take me to the movie with him. And I asked him, "Daddy, why I get to go to the movie and nobody else?" He said, "Because you're the only one that can keep up with me. You got extra long legs." But the truth of the matter is that I was running part of the way. And another thing that I remember about my dad is that he taught us all this game stuff. This is before the Atari. He taught me how to play checkers and Chinese checkers. And I was a little girl. And his friends would come in and they would be amazed that I even could remember the moves. Now my daddy, he gambled. In fact, he gambled enough that he had enough money to pay the doctor bill for Mary's doctor when she was born. These are just a few of the good memories. I'm sure you'll hear a whole lot more from my other sisters. Bye-bye.
My greatest memory of my father was 3 different things. First, all of us having Thanksgiving prayer meeting every Sunday, and we each used to have a memory of a Bible verse before we started to eat. The next thing I remember is I was very active in dramatics, and he felt that he should project for me and show me how to do the stunt that I had to do. And it really turned out great. In fact, it got me promoted to direction of Dudley's Drama Club. The next thing I remember is him saying, "Well, I'm going to be talking to Jimmy." And Jimmy had proposed to me. And when he went to talk to Jimmy, the first thing he said, "If you can't get along, bring her home." And the next thing he said to Jimmy, "You must promise me that she will finish college, and I'll be right here waiting for her to come back." And I did. I came back We had a child at the time I came back, and he kept Tony while I went to school.
Things that I remember most about my dad was that every so often he would cook breakfast for us on a Sunday morning. Now when my daddy cooked breakfast, it was on. My daddy would do pancakes and waffles. We would have some grits. We wouldn't just have one meat. He'd do two meats. We'd have sausage and bacon. We would have fried eggs and scrambled eggs. And he would come in there and he said, "Y'all get up, breakfast is ready." We jumped right up because we knew we were going to have one more good breakfast.
Novella was the most loving mother and grandmother. She let no one go hungry and baked some of the best homemade soup and pound cakes. Her daughters still make that same homemade soup today. She was able to remember all of her children and grandchildren's birthdays. Many of the grandchildren remember receiving the $2 that they would proudly accept from her for their birthday. They would brag to each other that they had gotten their $2 from Grandma. She always gave generous advice and wise conversation on growing up and becoming a lady. Her voice of wisdom is still heard silently in the minds of her grandchildren when making day-to-day decisions. She always shared delicious peppermints that she kept in her purse and was lovingly known as the Peppermint Lady. She worked domestically with multiple wealthy families, catered for special events, and was a clothing designer. She made her own patterns and was an excellent seamstress. She loved God and sought to and prayed to Him daily, teaching her children that God always comes first. Novella placed much emphasis on achieving an education and worked diligently to see that all her children had an opportunity to go to college. She mastered financial success and left a legacy for her family.
Well, my mama likes to cook, but one day I had been to lunch late when I was working for child development, so I decided to bring her a hot dog back. And she ate the hot dog. She said, that was good. Where'd you get it? I said, I got it down at the bottom of the hill. She knows what I call the bottom of the hill. And she said, how much are I said, Mama, I don't remember. Don't worry about it. So she ate the hot dog and she didn't say anything else. Later on, she asked me again, where'd you say you got that hot dog? So I finally told her where I got it. So I went to work the next day. And when I came home, I said, Mom, what'd you do today? Oh, nothing, just fiddle around the house. I said, did you go anywhere? Yeah, I went down the bottom of the hill. That means she went to a food line down off of Florida Street. I said, okay. I said, you go anywhere else? She said, I just fiddled around. That's all I did. So I went in the kitchen. I looked in the trash. And right there on the top, you know how some stores have, restaurants have the little red and white check food wrapped in that. Right there at the top of the trash can. That's what was in there. So I knew she'd been to get that hot dog. So I said, you see this paper here? She said, she started laughing. I said, where you been, Mama? I just went to get me one of those hot dogs. Well, for the next 3 or 4 days, Mama had to make a trip down to the bottom of the hill to get her one of those hot dogs. She said, those hot dogs are really good out there. I said, yes, ma'am. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And that's the end of that. Thank you. Goodbye.
What I remember about my mother, my beautiful mother, is that she was very loving, very caring. I could talk to her about anything. She gave me advice about everything. I also liked how she also counseled with my 2 girls, Kathy and Laura. They would come over there and she would tell them about the little boys and what to expect and what not to expect and what to do and what not to do. I loved her cooking. To this day, I still cook the pork chop, pinto beans, pig feet, and my neck bones. I share them when I cook them. I make sure my sisters, if they're around, that they get some of it. My brother too, but of course he's not here now. Also, in the summertime, she used to make this delightful salad with lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, and it was delicious. I make that salad to this day as well. I loved her very much. I miss her, and Kathy told me. Kathy told me my time is up. Later.
Since Arthur Leroy Winford Jr. is no longer with us, we found a letter he wrote about his parents back in 1995. His son Billy will be reading it. This letter is about his fondest memories, and I hope you enjoy.
Mom and Dad was brought up during hard times when cotton was picked in the fields by hand. We moved to Greensboro, North Carolina in March 1944, where all of us were brought up, 5 girls and 1 boy. They are the best mom and dad we could ever ask for. We had family prayers on Sundays. We went to church on Sundays. We went back to church to BTU meetings on Sunday nights. Then back to Wednesday night prayer service. They showed lots of love for us. We were brought up the right way. They worked hard. We moved into a home in 1950 where we had a good childhood. They put all of us through school, mostly in college. They have always been there for me, in my sickness, in my weakness, in my sorrows, in my troubles, and in my I don't know what to do. I thank God so much for them. No telling where I would be now if it had not been for God and them. I really love my mom and dad. Thanks so much, Mom. Thanks so much, Dad. I love both of you. Yours very truly, Arthur Winford Jr.
I hope you have enjoyed this sneak peek into the Winford family history. As you can see, Arthur and Novella made lasting impressions that are carried on generation after generation. Their strength, encouragement, and abundant love is reflected in each one of us today. We all play a part in keeping our families together, sharing our history, and never forgetting where we come from.
Happy anniversary. No, she's awake. Hi, Granddad. It's cold right here. Hold it up so I can see. I can't get it in. Look, Billy's mom. Look, Billy's going. But that's good. I mean, yo, look. Wait a minute.
All right, take it. Take it.
Okay, put your clothes in there because it's not enough light.
Take it.
Okay, hold it right there. Go back some.
Take it.
Wait a minute.
Where are you taking that?
Then it can move over just a little bit. Oh, that's all. Okay, hold back. I can zoom you up. Get under the light. Put that light on your head. Put your head under the light.
All right,
Turn around, Dad. Don't go film me. Uh-oh. Now that's perfect.
All right. Number 1, number 2, number 2, number 1. Number 1, number 2.
This has been an avocado production.